Hi comic book fans, and we've got another in my series of comics in the countryside. So look at this magnificent dead old oak tree, and then next to it a beautiful live oak tree. So I am in sunny Suffolk. It's a Sunday morning. We're going to go off cycling shortly. This is a place called Glevering Hall, and we've been staying here for the last few nights in our motorhome, which is called Mojo. So this story goes back to 1981, when I was at Leeds University in my final year. And one of the things companies used to do in the UK around this time is, before you took your finals, companies used to come around the universities and interview you for prospective jobs. And it was called the milk round. And I did 5 or 6 of these interviews with different companies. And one of them, I think it was held in a hotel room at the Grand Hotel in Leeds. And I went in and sat down, and there was a chap there, probably in his 50s. And he started off the interview by asking me about my hobbies. This was probably a part of his standard questioning. So I said, well, I was chairman of the debating society, so we talked about that for a bit. And then I said, and I played Dungeons and Dragons. And he looked at me. He had no idea what it was, because this was 1981. I think Gary Gygax invented Dungeons and Dragons in about mid-70s, maybe 1974. And I'd been playing Dungeons and Dragons while I'd been at university, so from 78 to 81. So it was still very new, and not many people were aware of it. And, you know, it was getting a lot of press as being demonic and things like that. So I then spent, and this guy was very interested. He was one of the sort of old school personnel guys who you got in British companies back then, who were sort of gentlemen's gentlemen. They were really gentlemanly, plummy accents. I think, you know, used to be, if you were the third son of a lord, you ended up going into the church. I think that changed in the 70s and 80s, and you ended up going into HR. Anyway, this guy was completely fascinated by the concept of role-playing and Dungeons and Dragons, and he kept asking more and more questions about it. And before we knew it, we'd been chatting for about 3/4 of an hour, and he said, my next interviewee's here. Thanks very much. We'll be in touch. So I thought, hang on a minute. We've spent the entire interview talking about Dungeons and Dragons. So I thought, well, that's the last I'm going to hear of him. Anyway, of the 5 interviews I got, that was the one for which I got a job offer. So I got an offer saying that if I got a 2-2, they'd give me a job on their graduate training scheme. So I'd have got a 2-2. I had one job offer. I took it, and that was in the paper industry. And that's the story about how I came to get my first job, by talking about Dungeons and Dragons. How does this relate to comics? Well, interestingly, I bought a comic the other week, Dazzler number 6. And the reason this is relevant to the story is it was published that very year, 1981, and it contains the first comic appearance of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to put a picture of the comic up here. So there you go. Dungeons and Dragons got me my first job. Thanks for watching. Bye.